Hello guys. Welcome. Let me know if I'm out of sync or you can't see me or something. I'll wait to hear from some of you guys. And I'll pop out the chat so I can read your comments in a bigger window. Okay, looks fine and I appear to be synced properly. All right. Okay guys, good morning or good evening for most of you guys. It's probably the middle of the night or fairly late in most of the world. As always, if you want to ask a question, make sure you put a whole bunch of emojis right before your question in the chat so I can see them in real time, and then I'll do my best to answer them. Keep them sensible and civil. As usual, I'll be talking mostly about my latest video, and maybe the one before it. Basically, the video or videos before last week's stream. Sort of after last week's stream. So, hey Boffin, how you going? It's good to see the regulars in here. Yeah, it was nice to kind of see, not nice in the sense that what it represents. It represents that a lot of guys went through it in terms of the video I did about not being able to get it up as a guy and performance, and also the latest one about missing her. Two very, very, it seems, common touch points that a lot of guys have gone through. And again, it's not to say blame everything on her, but all of this is about self-reflection. So you don't have to go through this again because you're honest about how much of it was your fault, how much you hid from the relationship, how honest you really were. This is the thing, so you don't have to experience it again. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't want to pretend that I was an angel where I wasn't, and then you go back in if you date again and you repeat all the same mistakes. The worst part is you don't want to regret. You don't want to look back at some point where there's nowhere else to go. You've thrown away all your chances. That's the thing I fear, probably. Not fear, fear's a strong word, but I don't want to regret. Can you regret? I don't want to be on my deathbed thinking about all the chances I threw away, all the ways in which I was consciously aware of them or lazy, but I just didn't take that step, or I just didn't speak that word or words, you know? So this is all about being kind of honest. Yeah, sure, blame where blame is due if the female is at fault. But also, as much as you can in that conversation, voice those opinions. There's no point keeping your mouth shut, then afterwards making a YouTube channel or talking to guys online in the chat section like going to a therapist and then letting out the honesty. Really, when you look at it, the way you would be at therapy, the trust you would give a therapist that you can let everything out with, should be the degree to which you're open and talk to your lover, your partner, the person you're going to have in your life. It makes sense, doesn't it? So let me know how the video looks. I'm using my old camera because I think it's cleaner. It's much easier to use as well. It's less finicky. So yeah, whole bunch of emojis if you want to ask a question, guys. Otherwise, I'll read some of the more notable comments under my recent videos. In terms of missing her, Alex R said, I miss the plans to settle down and my purpose to become a father before turning 35. That's what I miss. This, I think, is why there's probably guys that are more frustrated, annoyed, and even upset at being the nice guy and trying to do the right thing in their 20s, where they want women so much and they want life to happen then in their 20s. I want life to happen now. I want it to start. I want to build my life. Women are saying, no, I want to have fun. Wait, later. Don't rush me. Later. And then later, a guy gets frustrated with all the failed attempts, all the being held back at arm's length, all the lies, all the not being taken seriously because a lot of women want to take things seriously later, in their 30s and 40s when they want to settle down. And reproductively, it's a lost cause. It's too late. And even if you manage to be lucky enough to have to have a kid that's healthy at that age, remember, it's not just that women lose about 90% of their eggs by the time they reach 30. It's that past that mid-30s and late 40s, the chances of having a child with deformities and issues and things like that, let alone the danger to the woman in birth, but primarily to have a healthy kid, is so low. It's almost like if you cared about it, you would have done it sooner. And whenever I mention this to women, they get annoyed and saying, well, I was always looking for the one. But then when you ask them about their lifestyle, they were having fun. So I can't believe them entirely. I can a bit, depending on the person I'm talking to, how much I trust and know them. But if you tell me your lifestyle was traveling, partying, hooking up and stuff, it's similar to you see a lot of people these days on Tinder. I mentioned it in a few videos where you say to everyone that I'm just having fun, hooking up, fooling around until this magical person comes to tear me away from the party scene of Tinder and hooking up and the freedom. It's like, no, you need to make a willful choice to get out of that cesspool, or you need to make a willful choice to get out of the lifestyle of whether it's intense career, traveling, partying, fooling around, spinning partners. You need to settle down, become more of a settled person, not be such a gregarious person, stay at home a bit, really embrace the lifestyle that a child would need, that a family would need. You really need to enjoy that and love that and be settled with that. Having a child is not a holiday from your days of holidaying. If your lifestyle is holidaying and partying, being single, independent, and never wanting anyone in your life, don't tell me what to do kind of person, and saying, okay, I'll reserve this pocket of time to be a mother, you are really wanting to be a mother or a father as a holiday. That never works. You need to, I've mentioned before in videos, relationships aren't holidays. If you want to be a father or a mother, it's not a holiday, it's a life. So this is about the whole being honest with yourself kind of thing. Let me take a look at some of the questions. Hey, Quasi Mandias says, it seems many haven't learnt the essential survival skills of dumping her before you learn to hate her. Yes, I recommend it. It makes one's memories far more poignant. This is really true. I've noticed that I was much more angry, annoyed at the years I let go by when I was younger compared to later. Not just understanding yourself, but leaving and pulling the cord way before you would have when you were younger. That's great, but the more you can do it, because a lot of times we're angry at ourselves and the waste of time and investment we put into this person, knowing that when it was going bad, we gave them a chance and it got worse, and we gave them another chance and it got worse. There's nothing wrong with, extending an olive branch or sensibly saying, well, I don't want to jump the gun if I see negative behavior or some situation that I don't like between us. I don't want to jump the gun. I want to talk to her. I want to make sure it is what it is. Then I can make a rational decision. But if you stay quiet, you don't speak, you don't communicate, and you keep tolerating a life you don't like, and she's doing the same, neither of you communicate, neither of you are honest. Both of you put on the show enough right at the start to lock each other in, and then after that, you're having a relationship behind glass, and you never leave. And then you as a guy are annoyed at women, and her as a woman, she's annoyed at men. Yeah, dump her before you start hating her. Good piece of advice, Quaz. I'm going to pin that comment. Hydrostatic says, it's hard to believe human made many mistakes in past relationships. Oh, I did, man. But I'm very... I can't stop scratching the itch. I have to find out why. I hate... What I hate is regret. I hate being fearful. I don't like being uncomfortable. I don't like being afraid at all. And I'll do everything to understand something. So whatever I feared, I want to face as much as I can so I know it and I don't fear it anymore. So I can face it again if it's not worth fearing. I want to fear what's rational, because I think we fear too much. We avoid too much out of just, benign safety when we don't need to. There's a lot of adventure, fun, and vibrancy in life. Like if you just kind of rationally risk and go on adventures where you know it's not reckless, it's just taking these great chances, which is what a lot of life is about, but not blindly. It's not, you don't date a stripper who's an addict with 3 kids when you're in your 20s and you're still doing it in your 30s and your 40s. Like, can be stupid once, but if you keep repeating it because it's, oh well, that's what I like. I love single mum strippers. Good luck, man. That's the kind of thing, like it's hard to have much patience and words and time for a guy that comes on your channel or visits sites that are just venting. Because a lot of times you see that the way in which guys are venting and upset at women is, and they refuse to talk about themselves, is, I think a lot of times they're annoyed at themselves, how much they tolerated. As Quasimodo said, how much they stayed quiet and just thought, well, this is what women are like. We have to put up with women like this. This is what relationships are. Relationships are hard work. No, they're not. They are hard work with an incompatible person. They are hard work when you keep your mouth shut. They are hard work when you act like Romeo, when you act like the good guy. They are hard work when you haven't faced your childhood trauma of what you were not given when you were young, or what was done to you, or whatever it may be. It's hard work when you won't face the reality of your past, your present, the choices you just keep making because they're a reflex, rather than stopping the reflex for your own good. I know it's hard, but do you want your life to be better, or do you want it just to continue and say, well, I hope the 53rd time I do the same thing that leads to ruin, I hope it doesn't this time. If you're always looking for the lottery winning life, this is the thing. I don't want to get to my deathbed and just look at all the time I would have wasted. If I just, okay, the next time a woman presents herself as being potentially a good mate, am I going to put the same glasses on that I put on the hundreds of times beforehand, or am I going to put different ones on because I've determined they're the ones I need because I've had experience. I want to be honest with myself. I want to open my mouth. I want to speak honestly to give myself the best chance of long-term companionship and to be happy and not have it ruin again. You know, it's learn how to drive if you want to stop crashing your car. I mean, it's a poor analogy, but you know what I mean. Joe says, I miss her smell and touch of her soft skin. Everything else I like to forget. Yeah, me too. The tactile stuff is probably the stuff you miss. People will point to crude stuff like, you know, sex, but the tactile things like smell, the body chemistry, the pheromones, the touch, skin, things like that. It's this unquantifiable experience because touching on the recent video I made about guys not being able to get it up. When you're incompatible in the tactile sense, you're in front of a woman, smell, hormones, pheromones, touch, skin. There's a combination that works perfectly with you, or there's a range that works really well, and then there's a range that just doesn't fit. It's a plug that doesn't fit into your socket. And I've experienced it a few times. So not being able to perform or respond to a woman in the bedroom, that's actually a good indicator that there's something wrong with your compatibility. I would say not even 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 times, there's probably something wrong between your compatibility in temperament, lifestyle, values, personality, all that kind of stuff. Yes, it could be the very small thing where it's kind of just pheromones or like tactile kind of stuff, but got to pay attention to it. Do you want to keep failing? Like the part of the impotence, not just physical, but I'd say you don't want to go through life and the next time you feel like I have got no control over the next person I like and I have no idea why. And really, I know I can't be bothered even investigating. I don't want to not try, especially since I've got experience. This happened to me in the past. This happened. What can I learn? What did I like? What didn't I like? Ma 288 299 2 says, what advice would you give to a man who lost out on a good woman or believed to be a good woman? How do you forgive yourself for causing someone else's great pain? My biggest regret in life. Nothing you can do except, it sounds cliche and glib, but be the person you should have been if you get a chance again, and be honest about it. Look, all of us have regrets, some big, some small. As Quaz mentioned, you miss loving someone in your teens, in your 20s, in your 30s. You miss those moments. It feels good to be in that warm campfire with someone you kind of know you get along with, and life feels good with them. And when you take it for granted and self-sabotage it, yeah, it's all you can do is learn from it, man, because you can't go back in time. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but that's it. You can't. Well, yeah, okay. Randall says human is knowledgeable because of all the mistakes he's made. At least that's usually how it works. Yeah, I've made a ton of mistakes. And I want to be honest about not making, I want to make as less as possible in the future because I don't want to sleepwalk through it. When you're young and you haven't had experience, fine, you're naive, but you can't really be held too much to fault because you haven't had experience from which to learn. But you get older and you keep doing the same thing, and you keep staying unhappy in the same state with or without women, not trying to meet women if you want to. or meeting women and you're doing the same thing that's causing a mess in your life. Be yourself, but do it from a different perspective or in a different way. No one's telling you not to be yourself, but be yourself in the healthiest way possible. And speak up, especially. There's too many guys that keep their mouth shut just so she doesn't leave. Men's Health Space says, we miss our subconscious bias of what we perceived was our plan together. Yeah, or more importantly, your plan, what you looked forward to. Because, you know, when you're in love and you think, oh, finally, and it's like, great, I've finally gotten what I wanted now, life ahead, I have this thing set, you know? And now I'm looking forward, you look forward to things like that person is a foundation now. Like, for instance, now you take a lot of things for granted because you've got two legs and two arms, and you can do a lot of things. The moment you may lose one of them, or you get sick, or you realize, oh, I took all that time for granted. I wasted it. So the thing is, it's like you've got mobility, and now you've got the foundation of a woman that, okay, now this is a person in my life. If you ruin it, you took it for granted, but you realize it was a very important foundation. It's a hard pill to swallow. Like, you have to basically be a good caretaker of it in the future and not treat it like crap. You know, you got a dog that cares for you and is a great dog, but you treat it like crap, you don't feed it, you abuse it, and then it runs off or it passes away. That pain, think about what the pain is actually teaching you guys. A lot of guys will opt for the easy scapegoat and say, oh, it's her. The pain comes from her. Does it really? Or does it come from stuff you did or didn't do because you didn't speak up? Do you regret the time wasted? Do you regret how you acted? Did you actually push her away? Was it honestly that you did everything you could and she pushed you away? So that's the pain. Like, why did she have to be like this? If she just wasn't like this, if she didn't have this character trait, we would still be together. But also, it's probably why you met her and no one got her before you as well, is that she had these flaws just like you have your flaws, and she runs up against person after person that cannot tolerate those flaws, that can't be compatible with that person. And the same with you. You've got your compatibility issues too. So this is part of the thing. Know yourself, then you know who to say no to because they don't match you. And the people you tend to give a chance and say yes to is that they got flaws and aspects to them that can be complementary to you. But if you have no standards by which you're with people other than, oh, hot chick, short skirt, you know, sleep with her, ugh, want food, ugh, want sex, then good luck. Hey, Mr. Highway, how you going? Feral Male says, isn't that part of the social narrative though? All men only want one thing, so a 40 plus established guy will still want the clam. Yeah, I don't think guys just want sex. That's just the basic way. Men are very kind of basic. Women know how basic men are. They're very easy to understand. If that's a goal, if you can get to sex, it means you've gotten the person. You've gotten to the most intimate, base primal state. So, you know, after you've done it, you lie there. You should be able to say anything you want. There's no further to go unless you're restraining yourself from talking. That's another thing. So I think it's an instinctual drive to want that, because if you can get that, then you've crossed the barrier, you've crossed the gates, then you're with someone in a very intimate way. But they like to paint it as like a dirty deed. rather than perfectly natural. Like what I wrote something down last night before the stream in terms of, did you really miss her? Or did you miss the space or the warmth of the relationship, or what should have been? Think about it. Where else can a man experience, if you're, heterosexual, where else can a man experience that with a woman? This is why it's too glib to say, oh, just make money, bro. Go to the gym. Just enjoy your hobbies. Yeah, fine. But if the missing part cannot be replaced with those external things, a woman is, don't forget, a woman, a compatible mate she's an external object, fine. But when you're compatible and you bring her in and she brings you in, that becomes an internal space. A lot of guys like to kind of defensively look at it as an ontological external object, where it's like, I am man, she's woman. Biologically, she's a female, I am a male. So they externalize everything. Everything's depersonalized for safety's sake. But don't forget why you want to be with a female, romantically, in love, if you're so inclined. You want an internal experience. You don't just want an external one to push a button. It's an external one that you bring into yourself. And a lot of guys are lying to themselves. They're giving themselves a narrative by which they might be able to get into a relationship. Like a lot of people today, I'll hook up on Tinder and maybe the lottery will happen and a beautiful girl who hasn't slept around, or a great guy who's not a sleazebag, will be on Tinder. It's like, oh man, how much of your life are you going to waste? And condition yourself in that environment that it becomes impossible over time for any guy or girl that decides, I'm not going to wait in a cesspool, in a trash can. I am going to look for a partner in a sensible way. And then when they come across people who live their lives on Tinder and hook up and don't take anything seriously, when a good person, a serious person, meets someone who isn't, who's childish, who's wasteful, they'll feel that. They'll be like, nah, everything you're talking to me about, your lifestyle, I don't want to be around you. It doesn't feel right. Then you don't feel, if you're self-aware, there is an unconscious instinct, because you're waiting in that language now. You're in the soup of being responsible, lucid. You're reading. You're aware. You want to take things. You want to do things correctly. You realize time is slipping away. You don't want to be wasteful anymore. You're not childish. You know the season in life you're in. I know I'm not in the summer period of my life anymore. I know that there's more life behind me than ahead of me. So, and with my experience, I can tell, especially because I'm interested in language and how people speak and conversations and fairness, I can tell when someone's a blind, sensation-seeking moron that wants me to carry the load of responsibility and will not take any responsibility themselves. They will blame me for everything. They blame their exes for everything. You have to be aware for your own sake. A lot of guys in the comment section online, there's so much bravado, like, oh, women are just for one thing, and I have a lot of women on the go, spin plates, make money, go to the gym, bro. Fine. Be the counterpart to all the bimbos you complain about. Fine. But then don't come on my comment section and say, human, when you should make a video of how women do blah, 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 and how the system is blah, 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 and women can't be trusted with, and you can just see with the language, like, you're a dude, bro, who's just after one thing, and you're acting like a kid in a candy store. When your language sounds like you want to actually be responsible for things, I will listen, but I can't carry the load of what you should be at least partially carry. So that kind of at least there can be some sort of conversation. P2J2 said, she made me feel invincible. A great thing about a compatible partner is life feels really comfortable for you. It feels well-rounded. It feels like, settled. You know, the support, it's kind of a foundation. It's kind of, you can feel great on your own, but when you have someone compatible, it feels like you've got yourself multiplied by 2 or 3. Again, unquantifiable, but those of us who have been in good relationships or have been in love, you can try and describe it via analogies, but it's like the Matrix. It's something that can't be told. It must be, you need to see it for yourself. And another thing you need to see for yourself is yourself in the mirror afterwards, when you've made mistakes. Mikkel says, you ever thought about changing the theme your channel's focused on, since it seems you've got interesting things to say other than relationships and like? I think I talk about relationships all the time, and it's not just male, female, not romantic. It's a relationship with yourself, relationship with life, your choices. So I think I'm always talking about the conversation you're having with others, with yourself, your life in general. So I think I'm always talking about relationships, but I've broadened it, and I think it's one of the most important, if not the most important topic in general, as an umbrella topic, is relationships. But most people just think of relationships as being let me go a bit lower. Most people think about relationships as being just the romantic one between men and women. Another reason, what did you miss from your ex, right? Was it really her, or was it just the promise or that space with someone? The feeling of comfort and safety you had with someone, that you felt like you were a team. And I was thinking, is this why it's you feel heartbroken until you're in love again? Because you actually love sharing and giving and being with someone you feel like understands you. So the intensity, like, you can really get over your ex. I'm not saying you should do it, because I don't think it ever works if you try and jump the gun and get back into a relationship, especially as a guy. Guys find it very hard, if not impossible. If they've been in love, yeah, you can hook up and get stuff out of your system, but you can never get back into a proper relationship where you're committed and in love again until you've had enough time away. And usually it's sometimes years. So I was wondering, is that why when you're with another person again, then you can finally cut the umbilical cord? You don't miss them barely at all. And anyway, you can talk about them dispassionately, or at least like a memory now. They're not close. So I think it's a lot of being able to, that space you have with a person, and you rack your brain because you desperately want to go back there because it felt so good. Why was it so right? And you think about her because she was the person in there with you. So obviously she was the cause of it. No, it wasn't. It was that you both loved being in the space. You both loved being in a relationship because of what a relationship gives you that no other part of life can. So, so it wasn't necessarily them. It probably just being in a relationship. Don't forget, we miss the giving. We miss the sharing, the love, the affection, the tactile aspect, the smell. Like, you get so much wrapped in one acute central point. It's there. It's around this one person. This person in your life, in front of you, or when you're with them, they could be at work or anywhere. They create a central, stable, ambient warmth and stability in your life. It's kind of, there's no more you want, and it's perfect when it's good. And when it's gone, it's the opposite of that. So it feels like, yeah, life is good, but it was so much heightened, and all these different unquantifiable aspects just felt perfect and right and secure. It's it's like audio being equalized properly. It's like a TV station being tuned properly, and you've got a clear signal. Wearing glasses that you can see clearly with. Zone Television says, what I miss about her is her laughter, her complete acceptance of my humor, her selflessness, and caring for my mother when I couldn't be there. The kindness too. Don't forget that today, not just today, the world can be cruel. And when you have someone that you're compatible with, that you love, that you care about, when times are good, finally you have a place away from the world. You have something opposite to the world, something familiar, warm, kind, affectionate, empathetic, hopefully. You have all the things that you can't get in general from the world. You can't get those human qualities, the intimate human qualities from your favorite hobby. You might love your family, but you can't love them in the specific way that you love someone you're compatible with romantically. You can't, I love my car. I can't love my car or get anything approaching what I get out of my car with a partner. And also what I get out of my car when I'm giving it to my car is a feeling that no matter how much I love my partner, I can't get out of her, no matter how much I'm giving it to my partner. So each thing, you have to be aware of what they give you and what you get out of them. That knowing yourself in relation to them, I think, is really important, rather than unconsciously crossing your fingers and hoping life just happens to you. This is what I mean about sometimes I'm more of the notion of generate your life as much as you can. Yes, reality is as it is. If it rains, it's raining. I can't pretend it's sunny. My disposition can change how I think about it, sure, but stop thinking that you just get whatever women come along. Things present themselves all the time. Generate what you accept. Generate what you say yes to. Generate the words you want to speak. Generate as much of your life as you can, and don't just feel like you're a pawn that's placed in life. Yes, subjectively, most of it is like that. You don't have as much control as you think, but the degree to which you have will to say yes and no and choose, if you have option A and option B, sitting and thinking and knowing which option is better for you given your experience. Zaman 2020 says, my partner was 34 and I was 44 when we had my son. He's very healthy, and I thank the gods, and I'm very humbled and grateful. But she has left, and I only get to see my son on the weekends. Yeah. Biology is happy; it got its way. But as I said, I think biology sometimes thinks, "Great, thank you for that. You're off on your own now. I anesthetized you long enough to get what I wanted permanently. I don't care if you got what you wanted permanently." Yeah, I can't imagine to give advice about guys who have lost their sons. It's one thing to lose someone you loved. It's another thing to lose a wife and kids and everything you put everything into, your house, your fortune, and then start from zero again, as though you just left your parents' home and you're 44. Sympathy, man. All I can say is I wish you the best. Be with good friends. Don't stay on your own. And yeah, just be honest about what you've learned through your mistakes and just do the best. Don't also let bad women, don't let them have revenge on the rest of your life by them creating a monster in you. And it doesn't mean that you need to be open to another woman. Sure, if you want to. But generally in life, don't let them permanently tattoo you that they make you react in certain ways where you could enjoy your life later on, and they just don't. They're like an anchor. They're a bad smell behind you all the time. Quasimandias says, an essential part of this conversation, there's the wall, of course, but there is also the abyss, which is menopause, which rears its head in the 40s. Relating must be solid before this. Yep, Yeah, guys like to talk about, women hit the wall, but, men can inseminate women much later. We all have our own walls. Uh, physically, you could do things when you're younger and you hit a certain wall. Later in life, in your 30s or whenever it is, in terms of sport or whatever, you hit walls in terms of like being appealing to the opposite sex. You hit certain walls where you become more and more invisible, and life fades away. You hit certain points where it's very sharp, where all of a sudden it just ends, like menopause, or there's parts of your health. I've noticed in the last 1 or 2 years, just like say my eyesight, your eyesight just really steeply in a period of like 6 months to a year, just kind of falls off a cliff. And it was 2020 before that. And in the last year or two, it's just kind of fallen off a cliff for me. So we all have our walls, and just sitting there on a fence until you're 80 saying, women hit the wall, we have no walls. It's like, no, you're an 80-year-old guy. Stop acting like you're still got the status of a virile 21-year-old guy with the world ahead of you. You don't. Time waits for no one. Michael says, I don't really miss her anymore. There's one out there that's perfect, or at least 98%, but that's just out of reach. And that's just as well. Don't need the drama, only miss spooning and their body. Okay. Echo says, men are such romantics. A human is still talking about dating. He doesn't seem to realize we're in a post-monogamous society. Women have moved on. Okay. I'm assuming you're younger. There's a lot of guys who started their youth, like their teens and 20s, just prior to social media, the internet and things, or just around the time before it got really bad. So I'd say the last generation in the past 2008, so around 2008 to 2010 is when it started to really change. There's enough people that remember kind of dating before it got really bad, before it got very, as you said, post-monogamous. But I think a lot of the frustration and angst, I talk to a lot of younger guys, they feel that I don't feel. Like the things that they get really annoyed and frustrated about, I can't understand why they feel this way. It's like, why do you feel? Yeah, I get there's an issue, but why is your kind of negative energy so hitting the red line for this? And it's because they don't know anything prior to that. And so the way, a lot of people thinking, oh, post-monogamous society now, we've got Tinder, we're free and all this. But look at the amount of frustration, the amount of antidepressants and depression and things like that. It's like you're pretending that you're all free and great, and you've got all of these problems that we never had, at least publicly. I was talking to Boffin the other day, and we're talking about how, just think about this. Prior to the infection of social media and how badly it's made everyone live online, they have personal lives online now. They barely go out. When they're out, they've got their heads down and they don't even look at other people. Other people kind of resemble people with VR goggles. And if you want to meet them, you log into their account to see their curated photo. But Bob and I were talking, you used to go out with your group of friends to a club, bar, or just in public. You go out, during the day, you go out somewhere to a park or wherever it might be, right? You hang out with your friends. You see another group of girls. The difference is that in real life, you're with a group of people, even on your own, you spot another girl or a group of girls, you both smile at each other. There wasn't this toxicity. There wasn't this, oh, I don't like them, I'm putting up a fake show. I can see what you look like. I can see you smiling. There's an actual kindness. There's a relational kindness before you actually even get to talk to them. That's the difference. We could actually, when you meet strangers, there would be this first step of being nice to each other. So you'd smile at another group and you'd get and start talking, and everyone would be nice and open and try and be on their best behavior and wouldn't be hateful to each other. They wanted to be nice. They want to be social because you're face to face. You want to be agreeable. You want to be kind. You want to be polite. Now it's like I've got an avatar. I Photoshop my photo. I say BS in my profile. I'm spinning plates. I don't need you. Imagine trying to do that when you're out in public, trying to chat up someone, where you look at each other and you sneer at each other and you ignore each other and you just, do this to each other. It's like, yeah, I don't want you. And somehow you stumble into each other, resisting each other and saying, yeah, go F yourself. Yeah, you want to be with me? You start, it seems like modern social media relationships, online dating is constant negging each other, trying to get together and privately being like, oh, I just want to be loved. Why can't things work out? Because the way you approach it is the opposite of how you should be doing it to get intimacy. We used to, at least, the first step was always warmth and kindness. If you start with negativity, what chance do you get for warmth and intimacy and trust? How do you start how do you think of the uphill battle it is to trust a person where the first impression is negativity and resistance and I don't need you. Who are you? Prove yourself that you're worthy of me. Compared to prior to social media and your curated online Tinder profiles where you act like a superhero, where you think you're the best and you can make up your personality. You don't have to be genuine. Compare that to before, when the first step that everyone gave, their best foot forward, was kindness, a smile. Everyone wanted that. They were much more open about how they wanted to interact. I like you. I'm smiling. I talk to you. I'm flirting. I'm a bit shy, a bit embarrassed, but we can both recognize we like each other. Rather than online, I don't know what the hell I'm getting, and everyone's resistant. No one has got any social, what's the word? Everyone's socially awkward. Everyone's lying to themselves and to you. So of course you can't trust anyone. Of course, good luck trying to be intimate. Yeah, I'm getting on a few rants today, aren't I? Men's Health Space says, relationships and raising a family is teamwork. Don't have kids if you are not ready to give yourself to them wholly. Yes. I've said, a committed, loving relationship is not a holiday. And too many people in today's post-monogamous world, oh, I want serious. Why doesn't it work? Because your template is, I'm proud of a post-monogamous world where Tinder is normal. And what's with you old school guys that still believe in relationships? LOL. Fine. I'll be LOLing at you. I won't have time to listen to you afterwards, where after your 10th year on Tinder, you come to my comments section, or you send me an email. It's like, human, you need to talk about blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I don't, because you don't sound like you care. You want me to carry your load. When you are ready to relate honestly in your world, when you are, again, I go back to health. You can't keep screaming at McDonald's. When you refuse to stop, you got to refuse to stop going to McDonald's. You want your life to get better, restrain yourself. Defer the easy gratification of donuts. You want to get healthy, be good to yourself and start getting healthy. Remember, a whole bunch of emojis if you want to ask a question. Otherwise, I might miss some guys. Randall says, I don't miss the ex-wife at all, but I did miss the rebound. But then again, the rebound was everything I wanted my ex-wife to be and thought she was until we got married. Yeah, a lot of people kind of, the rebound is the opposite. Or and also it's a good opposite, where nothing about them reminds you of your ex. It helps you forget, helps you move on. But you've got to be very aware of not saying, oh, I'm in love with this person, simply because they're helping you run further away from the pain. You can't be in love with not pain. It actually has to be for something. Whoop. Big jump. I said it. Sorry, I might have missed some. If I miss any of your super chats, guys, let me know. But I'll go down them. Schlitz Malt Liquor. Thanks for the super chat. He says, fine work as usual, my man. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Cadence, thank you for the donation as well, man. I really appreciate it. Black Magic 1087 says, relationships take work when your goals and ambitions for the relationship are in alignment. I would say they take less work when your goals and ambition and you are compatible and everything's in alignment. I think it takes less work. Life will throw things at you that'll be challenges, but you'll both be able to compatibly, because you're on the same page and you're aligned, you'll be able to deal with them. So life will give you challenges already, but if your relationship itself is always a challenge, this is the thing that a lot of women, because they love chaos more than guys, and guys like order, is they think, I need a partner to challenge me. Like, I don't need a woman like that, sorry. This idea that women think that relationships need to be challenging to be interesting, avoid those women. That was something I learned from my ex, that that was something I hadn't heard anyone say in my past, but I thought, oh, maybe she's like me. I need intellectual curiosity. I have my hobbies and things like that. I need certain challenges in my hobbies and my solitary world where I tinker with things. I love those challenges, but I never kind of associated challenges with a romantic partner. I always thought there needed to be harmony. The challenges come in with the world and you both deal with them, but you don't challenge each other in a resistant kind of way. Interesting conversation, sure. You both have your own personality, but you don't challenge each other. But then I got to realize the extent to which she actually loved chaos and causing friction and drama in a relationship. There are too many women that love causing drama just to add some sort of vitality in a relationship, as far as I can see it. Randall says, with today's hookup culture, sex doesn't mean anything. It's just two people getting what they want. It's not all getting the person anymore. Yeah, I realize, but you can't get away from the mechanism of what biology is. It wants to have kids. And there's an unquantifiable thing that happens when a man just goes to a hooker. It's different. But if you're going on dates and having fun with a person freely, like a friend that you just sleep with, I think you can't get away from what the human experience is. You can condition yourself that it's nothing. But then if you have fun with someone that you have a laugh with, you have great sex with, all that stuff, how can you know the difference between this person is good for long term or if they're just someone who's throwaway? How do you know yourself where all you do is you never go beyond it? You never actually have the antenna to know any different because you've got a defensive posture of, no, this far but no further. Regardless, I don't care how great she is. This is how I've conditioned myself. I just spin plates. I'm on my own. I don't care about anything else. But there's this underlying frustration and malaise and anxiety that I can't put my finger on. If you're fine with it, fine. But I just see, like I said, there's a lot of frustrating language coming from people in the last couple of generations that I can't understand. It's like, why are you annoyed at it? Of course you're annoyed because of this. No, it's not that human, because we love that. It's like, no, you don't, because what you're doing results in those feelings you're frustrated with. No, I want my cake and I want to eat it too. Well, look, unless you want to look at it honestly, I can't help you. That's what I see, because I don't feel that way. I don't feel frustrated like you with women in that area, because I recognize I don't want to do that, because that causes those feelings for me. There's some idiot kids with motorbikes. Anyway, Warhammer says, isn't it better not to catch feelings after SEX because I will never make that mistake again? Yeah, you can be really safe and not experience things. Speaking of motorbikes, if you really love motorbikes, you got to weigh up risks and reward. Do you love motorbikes to the degree that you want to ride them, but you're going to do it as safely as you can to experience it? Or are you going to say, look, I don't want to accept any risk at all. I'm not going to even touch motorbikes, but I always have a longing to. That's a choice you have to make. Ricky says, honestly, I miss all the things I learned from her about women, about myself. I miss the spontaneous road trips, bedroom fun. I miss how jealous she was. P.S. I broke up with her. Why did you miss how jealous she was? Why? Because it sort of, it said to you how much she cared about you, or she didn't want you to be with someone else? Yeah. That's a hard thing when you miss someone that you ended it with. Again, you got to think back what caused you to end it. Don't just think about, well, I miss the feeling, I'd love to go back there, and I'm going to ignore why did it build up to such a degree? If you were serious with this person, you were with them for years, what made you throw it all away? I'm pretty sure it wasn't nothing. Roy says, indecent proposal, that movie says it all. Yeah, thumbs up, guys. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Help me get past 103,000. I've been on 103,000 for a year now. I've been frozen. So any little bit helps. Only because it's not that I want my channel to get to any number, but if I don't keep pushing it, the system on YouTube will just go down and down and down. So my numbers will go down and I'll get throttled more and more, and my channel will be buried the more I don't keep. Unfortunately, I've got to play this game with them. So if you enjoyed the content, hit the thumbs button, like, subscribe, hit the bell. All that tedious stuff I'm sure you hate me repeating at the end of my videos. But I'm trying to play their game as minimally as possible. I'm trying to make the thumbnails and the titles as catchy as possible while still being related to the video, you know? Like, I'm trying to play it as respectably and as honestly as possible while still retaining what I want to talk about. We are on their platform after all. This is the way they are. So it would be nice to go back to the 20, 29s, 2010s, 11s, things like that. Plan B says, no man is spinning plates today unless he's in the absolute top tier. That's true. Tristan says, missing comfort, teamwork, warmth. Could not fill that void alone. Yeah, this is the thing about honesty. Like, if you do feel the pain or the emptiness, it's those things that really, there's no fake simulacra that's going to feel like you can distract yourself and you can enjoy your hobbies. And sometimes, and the best thing, that's why I say, after a breakup, if you got your heart broken, it's almost impossible to just kind of, oh, now I can enjoy my hobby on my own. No, you're left alone with your brain that's screaming. The only it's not a great replacement, but the only thing that kind of helps in a big way is to be around friends where you can socially distract yourself and you can talk about it and you can distract yourself by what they're saying. But being alone with your own head in your own space, that is really, really hard. I wouldn't recommend it, especially if you're in real pain. Be around other people. It's the reason why people go to therapy. Tomb of Arminius says, modern relationships are just a series of gaslights. You're just an NPC as a man. If you believe that, though, if you just say, oh, every woman's the same, so I'll just kind of close my eyes and just pick one, well, that's the kind of women you get. But if you have standards by which you go, nah, that's an obvious warning flag. Not picking her. I've been there. Or that's exactly the kind of chick I could make a YouTube video on because of all of the things she annoys me about and all of the mistakes waiting to happen. If you say yes to her, but your excuse is, oh, I'm just having fun, this isn't serious, you're going to keep messing with the worst women that we all complain about online, the worst kind of women. Or are you going to say, no, I'm happy being single and I'm tired, like you can have your fun, but it's always the same woman with different window dressing. You know, when are you going to get tired of test driving cars and finally buy the car you love? When are you going to live in a place you love instead of just renting and moving every week? When are you going to stop playing musical chairs? When do you want to relax? Because you can only build stuff in life when you kind of have set points. And having a set point with a woman where you can actually do some other stuff. Not continually groundhog daying dating. If you keep dating all the time, your life is always about women, guys. This is the thing. Oh, I'm free. I just spin plates. I'm with a different woman every week. Then your life is all about women. No, it's not. I'm not committed to anyone. But you're always around women and dating them and hooking up with them and sleeping with them and looking good for them and going to the gym for them and making enough money to, like, is it about you? This is why, if you're serious, if you do want a woman in your life, or if you don't, realize what your set point is for happiness, and then you can build from that foundation. Randall says, a human very succinctly put, life is heightened when in love. Yep. But try and make sure, if you are or want to be, that you're doing as lucidly and as consciously as possible. And that comes from being honest with yourself, how you speak, saying your yeses and nos, all those kind of things. Caden says, what would be your advice for someone who wants a real personal relationships but has trouble controlling their craving for someone who simply looks good but may not be the ideal pick for them? I think I just mentioned that just a little while ago. You may love McDonald's, but when are you going to get tired of the shameful feeling afterwards, after the food coma, after feeling like crap, after looking at the scales and hating yourself? When are you going to start getting sick of hating yourself? The easy thing to do, the fun thing to do is everywhere, especially today, especially post all of this stuff that's happened in the world. It is so easy to hate yourself afterwards because you are given the candy store at every opportunity. You can do everything without effort. You don't even need to read today. Like, I don't read. I have the information given to me. I don't want to do any work. So, like, we watch movies. We don't read movies as we used to on paper. Quasimandias says, unless you are incredibly lucky, she will drag you down. Her drives are likely less inspired than yours. Is it worth it? Maybe. Depends on your goals. This is Vedic civism at its core. I haven't looked into that, but I trust you, man. Yeah, have a look at Quasimandias knows a fair bit about ancient texts, societies, history, mythopoetic literature, things like that. I've scratched the surface. Uh, I tend to cherry pick when there's succinct points in history or writing and literature that really kind of speak to me because they're the only way I can retain them. Um, Certainly, I've read, but I'm kind of, what are those birds? Is it a lyrebird or something that sort of just goes around and picks from everywhere? But yeah, Quaz is fairly knowledgeable in in philosophical, mythopoetic literature, things like that. Um, okay, we've been going for just over an hour. Boffin actually left a great comment under the recent video. He says, in terms of the video, do you miss her or what should have been? He says, as the dialogue in the men's community evolves, it seems we're learning that men actually place a much higher value on committed relationships, despite what young people say. But despite the young generation now, the primed teens and 20s, the people who remember the turn of social media when it became very depersonalized, yeah, give men actually learning that men actually place much higher value on a committed relationship than ever given credit. Men have long been accused of being averse to long-term commitment. Even today, we speak of a woman having to lock her man down. Explain then men's traditional commitments to military service, career, church, community, nation building, and breadwinning, to name but a few. In fact, a strong argument can be made that once a man commits, he often commits to a fault and to his own detriment, up to and including his life. This is very true. Men will lay down their life for everything they've invested in, family, even the idea of country, concepts, ideals, even things that aren't real, that are just conceptually and philosophically righteous. Men's tendency to doggedly commit time and thought to a lost cause can have a ruinous impact on his life. And for far too many men, the lost cause centers around a past relationship and lost love. No, there is no natural male aversion to commitment relationships, and men should not allow the discussion to be framed in that manner. If men can be faulted for anything, it is not knowing when to let go of a lost cause. Exactly. It seems to be something echoed. Quasimandias said it recently. When to learn to leave a relationship. And Boffin echoed a similar sentiment. If men can be faulted for anything, it is not knowing when to let go of a lost cause, especially when you know rationally you've tried. You haven't jumped the gun and just thrown her away like a bus ticket when she means more, but you've opened your mouth, you've tried to discuss, you've tried to work it out. When you reach a point when you know it's clear as day that you two aren't compatible, that it was a lie, that there's no working this out, there is only compromise where you both experience pain and learn to live with it. There is no compromise, gentlemen. There's only mutual benefit. A mutual, so a conversation, a give and take, a fair one. As objectively fair as you can. But when one person's just, I want, or they act as though this is their relationship, and why aren't you acting the right way in their relationship? That they only enjoy being with you, or they only agree with you when you confirm their biases. It's like when we confirm our own. When you're a person where they've cast you as an external representation of them confirming their own biases. So they want to do what they want to do and they justify their biases, but you're an external voice that doesn't talk like their internal. and they can't understand why. You need to be aware of that. J. Paul D says, relating to this video, not sure I quite agree. For me, I miss all my exes. They were all beautiful, flawed humans just like me. Relationships are hard, especially the one with oneself. I have realized that I caused a lot of the issues that are where at the time I thought it was them. Bravo for at least acknowledging your role in it. This is the thing. You want to have a happy life later, with or without a woman? Know thyself. So then, how awful is it that you don't care about knowing yourself, being a better person, relating better, speaking better, being honest, knowing your boundaries, so that if you do it the same way you did it when you were 18 or 20, and you don't give yourself and relationships the respect they deserve in terms of being very clear on boundaries and how you relate to them, then imagine how much regret you'll have is that later in life when you've had all this experience and you're too lazy to be interested in yourself and to do with relationships, that you get a person that's very compatible with you and you're operating from an 18-year-old point of view where you cause chaos, you're not fair, you're selfish, you're petulant, you're no better than a lot of the women we complain about, but you've cast yourself as a perfect alpha male. How bad would it be when you're 80 to look back and regret the woman in your 40s could have been the one if only you acted less like a child, if only you were a bit more self-aware, if only you cared enough about yourself to relate better as a human being and be the person, relate as the person you would want relating back to you. You can't, if you're lazy in this, guys, you're not generating your life. Then you are being puppeteered completely by life. And again, I know we don't have as much free will as we think we do, but the degree to which we do is when we're at this crossroad where we can pick a person or not, or we can go left and right, especially with the benefit of experience, when we can pick the better choice because we've been down the wrong fork in the road many times. No, I know this path is better for me. I can, in a sleepwalking fashion, just let life take me, and then my predilections and biases and addictions will take me. Look, oh, I love single mum strippers. I'm going to go down there again and cross my fingers. It's like, no. How much you don't have time to waste, guys. All these young guys and girls who are hooking up on Tinder, and the ones who refuse to grow up and realize that, as Ernest Becker said, death is approaching. You're not realizing the important life lesson that death gives you is that your time is limited. Wake up, take it seriously, be a good human being. Most of all for yourself. Clint says, about do you miss her or what should have been? He says, exactly how I feel about my failed marriage. She sold me a dream and I fell in love with a mirage. Yeah, all I can do is sympathize and can just imagine how the extra boss level of lobotomized kind of pain of having a child, a failed marriage, and like someone taking your kids, your home, everything away from you. And it's too glib when women say, oh, you're worried about your money. We can't give birth. There are so many things that guys give everything of themselves. All of their doing, their sweat. Like, we show how much we care by what we do in life. Providing, protecting, all the effort like the years that we've given shows how much. And if that's all erased, if we're right back to an 18-year-old state where we just left our parents' home and we have to kind of build up from zero again, that is demoralizing. And it's almost impossible to get a woman that we could have gotten when you left us if you hadn't taken everything away from us, because women are very materialistic. You've taken away a lot of our future chances as well. So it's too glib when women sort of say, oh, you just think about money. You do too, but you're not honest about it. We know what money means to us because we generated it. We can't birth children. Yeah, Quasimandice said it in a comment I want to read. He said, what do you miss? He goes, I know precisely what I missed. What we miss is the opportunity to love at 18, then at 24, then at 29, 36, 44, 50-year-old woman. And that loss is permanent and poignant. There is no going back, and our own mortality is writ large is in the loss. Yeah. That's why the saying, memento mori, is popular now. You will die one day. Know it. Don't just think of it as an intellectual idea. Swallow it. Like, really know it. You're going to die. You've just lost a year. You've lost 2, 3 with this person. I've just lost a couple of years to this thing that's been going on in the world, like being socially isolated. Before that, we've wasted years with the wrong person. How much of a reminder does life need to give you for you to wake up? Yeah, Men's Health Space says, try chasing your kids around after 50. That's another aspect. All these women who want to get serious when they're in their 40s. Who's going to run around with their kids? What about your kids in their developmental years before they leave the nest? Them having to deal with mummy and daddy dying before them when you're a 50, 60-year-old man or woman. If you care about your kids like you say you do, you have them younger so you can give them a better life. I don't want kids, and I know that. But these people, these shoppers, these people that just want kids when they want them, when they're ready for them. It's like, no, I can make it work. No, you can't. Life's going to be hard. I can be a single mum. Yeah, good luck. What's your kid's life going to be? I'm going to give them the best. Yeah, you want to, but you won't. In the same way you say, I'm going to go on my diet. I'm going to get abs. I'm going to look like a supermodel. I'm going to be ultra fit. Yeah, you want to, you won't. You won't. I'm going to be a great single mum working a career and making millions. You won't. You won't. I get annoyed because it's like a world full of children wanting what they want. They want chocolate cake and they want to be in shape. I want it. Yeah, you want it, but it's not going to happen. There's a difference between what you want and what will happen. Sorry, I feel I'm coming off as annoyed, but I'm passionate. It means something to me. So you can imagine me, when these topics come up, I don't laugh at them. If I'm in relationships, they're serious to me because they're important. I don't shut my mouth because I can joke around, but there's times when life is serious, I don't want to keep letting it become a joke because like, no, this is where you stop it or it gets worse. You don't let these things slide. You don't go out with this person continually like you did before. You cut it off. You leave. You should know better. Any more questions, guys? Let's start hitting the finish line. Great rants, human. Aranta Dark Hand says, human, it's what I say to women that tell me they love me. Love is not a holiday in this paradise beach. Love is the boring day-to-day life. It's enjoy the past in peace and quiet routine. Yeah. This was when I realized without a doubt, nail in the coffin with my ex, I had a moment where things were going downhill for a little while. And I got frustrated and I said to her, look, because she was complaining about where this relationship wasn't going and I didn't want to be as outgoing as her and she wanted to travel more and it's all this outgoing stuff. And I said, you know what, we barely talk. You love going out with me and us kind of being out there in the world and doing stuff. I go, I don't want to be distracted with you. I said, if I can't talk to you in a closed room, be locked away at home for the weekend and feel like that was the best weekend, just sitting at home doing nothing with you and enjoying that ambience. If I can't do that, then it's pointless being with you. The point of compatibility with someone is being able to talk and sit still with someone and not do anything. I do not need a juggling act around me to enjoy a relationship with you. I do not need traveling, pets, kids, all this stuff. I just want to know that being with you is enough. And she paused and said, well, that's what relationships are about. Going out and doing stuff and being challenged by each other and situations and all this kind of circus aspect. I said, no. And I shook my head and said, I see relationships very different to you. I see them as very still and comfortable and secure. You see them as this kind of roller coaster, adventurous game show that's got to be held together all the time by excitement and unpredictability and rolling the dice every week. Why? I can't commit to that. I can't commit to fluid. I can only commit to solid. No more coffee. Who cares says, discipline is key in any relationship and tenacity to stand by in hard times. I think trust is too easily broken in relationships and not always over big things. They could be petty. I'd say also the petty things is when people start to, it's your own fault, right? Like if you let your health go, you may be able to kind of retrieve it if you haven't been complacent for too long, if you've noticed it quickly. But if you really don't give a crap and you expect the relationship to take care of itself, I think you both need to be interested enough as being caretakers. So say, for instance, in your own health, if you let your health slide, you're not taking care of your health. If you love a hobby, say, but if you're not engaging in it regularly and maintaining it, you don't really care. You love the idea of it. You love putting it on a shelf and letting it gather dust and pointing to it and say, yeah, it's important to me, but I never touch it. You need to, I think if you care about someone, you have to not just care about them, you need to care about the space that you both respect. You cannot, it's too easy to get annoyed at them once in a while, or you're not feeling great or whatever, but you need to care mutually about another thing, the relationship. With a lot of couples, having a child is that other thing. But I think fundamentally, you both need to care about the relationship itself, regardless of, you might have days where you want to be alone, you don't like the other person or what have you. So you need to be caretakers of the relationship itself. And because it's too easy to kind of look at the person and go, they annoy me today, or I need to be away from them. But you need to actually be a good caretaker of the space that a relationship resides in. You need to want to take care of it and maintain it. Some of your questions, I can't understand them. The grammar's a bit funny to make sense of. A. Nell says, human, I'm kind of going through this now. I'm talking to a woman I'm very, how can I say, sexually attracted to. And I like our conversation, but I don't know if this is a good thing or bad. Why? You like our this is a kind of a funny thing. I suppose it depends how young you are as well. But the older you get, if you can't trust your own judgment with your experience, that kind of, I would be questioning that too. Why don't you know? Why does it feel odd? Am I in focus? Tor says, human, what's up with everyone being in an open relationship hedonist? I hear so many saying that a loyal monogamous relationship is a horrible situation where both partners are miserable. Yeah, I think people are just trying to play it safe. It's like saying, I won't commit to anything, so then I'm free, and I'm sort of just, I don't have to make a bet on anything. But a big risk with your eyes open, especially if you take your time, you will get more from it. If you just kind of dip your toe in everywhere, you will get the results of that. I said, I remember saying in my writing days, in writing circles, that some people, if they don't take their craft seriously, I said, if you say, let's take art, right? Any kind of art you do. If you treat your art like a hobby, you will get the results of a hobby. If you treat your art seriously, professionally, you will get the results of that tenfold. It's not an accident. The degree to which you take something seriously is the rewards you'll get from it. And there is risk involved in that. But I'm talking about doing it with your eyes open, taking your time, you cross all your T's and I's, and it still may fail, but you're giving yourself the best chance for it to work out. If it's something you genuinely want. Shameless Dab 2.0, thank you for the super chat. He says, did your government really shut everything down? Yeah, we're still shut down. Hopefully we'll be unlocked in a week or two. I don't know. I got a message at the top saying JJ deleted Quasimandias's message. What could Quasimandias possibly say that would warrant someone deleting his message? Yeah, in terms of just being a primal animal that just sort of hooks up. Aranti says, do you want to be a hairless monkey or a real human? Who cares says, what does a woman what does a woman who's with you in a relationship mean to you? What are they supposed to be for you? And tell me, how does a woman become what you want her to be? These are personal questions. You should have your own standards and you should know what you need. My personality is different to yours. So you should specifically know what kind of person matches you, and you should openly talk about what's important to you. As soon as you start talking to someone that you think you're getting along with and you want to be with, you talk about everything. You don't have little questions pop up and you don't talk about them because you don't want them to go away. Talk about everything. The more you're in open booking conversation with someone, that you want to reveal everything, you'll get those questions answered. It's not so much what I want her to be. She can be who she wants. I'm not going to force her to put on a mask for me, to impress me. You know, that's part of the problem. A lot of women put on masks because they want to be with you, but then you're quite happy for them to be what you want. Or a lot of the guys, you know, control your woman. Yeah. Make her put on a mask, and then one day that mask drops and she gets frustrated, or she's tired, or she's locked you in and then she can drop the mask, and then it's like, who the hell is this person? Reveal it all at the start within the honeymoon period, so you know what's real or what potentially is more real, that's not going to drop, that's not a mask. Yeah, Mr. Highway says this. Most people don't believe they are going to die one day. It's a reality they can't wrap their head around. Yeah. It's a survival thing. I was alive yesterday. I'm alive today. What are you talking about? Yeah, I know we kind of like, other people die. My grandfather died. Yeah, I know people die. Yeah, I kind of know it's kind of going to happen, but it doesn't really, it hasn't sunk in. I think we experience little deaths where we pass points, like the death of the young person who cannot get, like you're a woman, you can't get guys anymore. There's a death of that. So you have actually deaths in life that remind you closer and closer to your actual death later in life. It's how aware you want to be of the time you have left. It's ending. You are dying every day. Some of these questions, I don't know how to answer them. Tomb of Arminus says, they're so strong and independent that they become the men they don't need. Yeah, true. Matt41174, thank you for the super chat donation. Says, love your work. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Hey, Karu, how you going? When's the next Discord talk? No idea. I've been dragging my feet on that because I have a lot of control here where I don't have to read comments that are spurgy, and it's kind of pretty easy to do a stream. I've set everything up. I click live and I talk and then I stop it. Whereas a Discord, there's a lot of moving parts. And then also the way I want to, if I record it, the way I would want to publish it, I'd want to edit it and make sure it's kind of polished. And so it'll take me time to publish it. And a lot of these discussions, they're best when I release them soon after. And because of the limitations of a live stream, I can do that. But with a Discord chat, it would be similar to my recorded chats. I'd want to record them, fine, even if I could do them, which I've discussed with Kari. There'd be a way to do them in Discord where you guys could actually log into my Discord, which you can, but there's a section where I do like a call-in radio show, if you like, and you could have a chance to talk to me if you've got a microphone and ask me questions, and then basically have call-in people. But then I'd want to edit that and make sure it sounds good and is presented good, then release that on my chat channel on YouTube. And a lot of people say, don't worry about it, just release it the way it is. No, that's not my standard. Sorry. I can't just kind of release anything. If I'm actually going to publish a final product, this is different. This is a stream of consciousness thing, real time. This is the limits of control I have and I accept it. But if I actually record something and then I have to kind of edit it and put it together and then upload it to YouTube or somewhere, I can't just release it as is. I can't release just the sketchbook. I have to release it, refined a little bit, because that's just the way I am. Sorry. But we'll see. I may in the future still do it. Thanks for putting me on blast there, Karu. Abel returns to Eden. Thank you for the super chat donation. He or she says, after the end of a 25-year marriage at 50, no children or alimony, I miss nothing. I am glad it happened. Amor fati, I love me now. Life is good. Cool. Nice. If you're happy, that's cool. I just kind of, it gets tiring when people act like they're tough, but you can tell they're anxious and they're a bit too forceful about it. You sound like you're happy. Roy says, my ex said, I don't think love is enough. Then she said she was not happy. What is that? Yeah. Take care of your own emotions is what I'd say. It's like, I'm fine. I don't know what you're dealing with. Unless you can explain it to me, unless there's something I can do, don't throw nothing at me and then telling me I have to deal with it. A lot of people want to offload their problems onto you without at least being um, kind or considerate enough to try and uh, uh, explain or share it with you, because they've got to realize they're with you. They live with you, so you've got to accommodate them, but only if you can understand what's going on. Yeah, Tomb of Arminus says, that's the Sex and the City mentality towards relationships, human. It must always be 1 minute away from destruction to be worth a damn, apparently. Yeah, this kind of anxiety where it's exciting because you don't know if it's going to last. I think it relates to kind of, where you really appreciate life the closer you are to death. Like you dodge a bullet or you were almost in a fatal car crash and it makes you realize how much you love life. I think women have that kind of subconscious thing in relationships. They love that high energy, the beginning of a relationship, the potential, like it's at its peak, and they don't like it settling. It's like the first issue of a comic book series. It's like that's first one's the height, and then later on they get bored and they just keep going for the next new issue. They can't stay with something. They love the buzz. It's like a smoker taking a first puff of a cigarette. Data with 72, thank you so much for your super chat, man. I appreciate it. He says, you can't see me, but I'm saying amen, amen, and amen. What they think they will get and what will happen are not the same. They just don't listen, human. All you can do is be as honest and direct. So afterwards, if it ends, you break up, they don't like you, you can sleep at night knowing, I was honest. They may not like it. I was trying to be as polite as possible, but I did not say yes when they wanted me to because it was a no for me, or I wanted time to think about it, or I had simply a different point of view to them, but they didn't like it and they weren't happy and they didn't want to be with me unless I was a parrot that said, wah, whatever she said. Yeah, JJ says it was all about where it was going for her. I think that's a good sign when a woman's actually not, she's too dumb to be interested in self-reflecting enough to know that she's not with the right guy. She wants you responsible for it. If she was with the right person, if she said yes to the right person instead of just going for how she felt in the moment, actually really analyzing, is this person like me? Do we share the same values? Women always ask, where's this going? They're never satisfied because they're not being honest with each other. So instead of complaining about them all the time, the best we can do is be honest with ourselves and say no to these women that are not compatible with us. Force them in a fun, interrogating style at the start. Because it's important to you, reveal as much as possible. Doesn't matter if she's comfortable or not. I want to know everything about you, relationships, how you feel, what's important to you. If you're a girl that says like, nah, I don't want to talk about that, like that's offensive. Like, why do you talk about your exes? I don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about idle chit chat, stuff that's not important. Get into a relationship simply because you've been together for a while, and then when you're comfortable and used to the routine and committed, being exclusive is not being in love. I was talking about this last night. Too many people think, well, I'm exclusive, that's all that matters. It's like, no, there's a difference between knowing yourself and knowing what love is and knowing what you need. Wandering Wombat, thank you for the super chat. Feral Android, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it, guys. It means a lot. I put it back into the channel. Yeah. The latest purchase, I got this microphone. It's really, really nice. But yeah, I really appreciate it, guys. And it goes to my bills as well. Patchwork Garden says, Human, do you have any suggestions how to fill the inner void? Ever since I dropped the expectation of one day having children, I've lost momentum and had to discipline myself to keep functional. This is hard. I don't want to presume to glibly give you my solution because everyone's different. I never wanted children, so I never felt like I was giving up a dream. All I felt like I was giving up a person that wasn't right for me. And I was kind of sad and disappointed in that respect. But that must be hard where you really know you want kids. But no matter how much you try with different women, and especially if you're trying to be honest, the quality of women out there is like very, very shallow. There's not many good women out there. Women were always the same, but at least they used to abide to a social standard, more or less. There were more of them in the middle of the bell curve that you could choose from. Now, that kind of, the middle of the bell curve is kind of like flattened out. It's gone to the ends. So there's very little in the middle. The average, sensible, grounded, normalized kind of woman. It's very hard to find compatibility. I don't know how to answer the question, but all I can say is it's hard, but it would be much harder just picking anyone and tolerating an awful life with someone you consciously know isn't good for you. You're smarter than that, and you're picking someone who's dumb, unconscious, and is just going to keep tipping over the furniture, and you're after stability and order. Oh, JJ said that was a mistake. I think JJ accidentally deleted Quasimandias' message. So, okay, that was a mistake. Super Duper said, I don't miss her, I miss the idea of her. Vero says, a lethargic woman is quite the red FLAG. Depends on what you define as lethargic, because a lot of women who I've dated in the past might say I'm boring or a bit too relaxed. That could be seen as lethargic, but what I like in a lifestyle is different for them. I'm very much a homebody. I'm a very simple, minimal person. I don't like going out a lot. I like simple stuff. My world is very kind of close and inner and unexciting, but I love it. I'm very routine based. So depends on what you regard as lethargic. Basically, you have to be compatible to them. It's as simple as that. But generally, yeah, a lethargic woman as in lazy in relationships, like she expects you to carry all the load and then she points at you and complains while you're not doing it, but she's not doing anything. Yes, I agree. Any last questions, guys? Let's wrap it up. Paul says, I wanted kids but realized the world is garbage. I don't know. I've thought about that. I've never wanted kids myself, but I think that if I actually wanted kids, I don't know that there would be much to stop me. I would still probably try and do it as sensibly as I can, and I may fail. I may have been divorced by now. But I'm one of these people, if I really want something, I will try everything I can. If I honestly, I think I kind of like, I can't ignore my instincts, what I want to get out of life, where I see the fire and enjoyment in life. I can't pretend that, oh, well, I can replace that with like a really poor simulacra. Whereas I could actually get it in a realistic way if I did it the best, most patient, sensible, mature way I can. Try and try without being reckless. Yeah. T-Dog says, Human, what sources of information, news, entertainment do you use, watch, read? Thanks. A fair bit. I don't really watch much manosphere content at all because these days it's mainly about picking up. It's not really about the guy. It's not really about being better or thinking better. It's not really about the stoic concepts of like being a better human being and standing up for yourself. It's not really about self-respect as a guy. It's just all about women. You know, money, gym, chicks. But I read from everywhere. Anything that interests me. Anything that feels genuine and right. Like yeah, basically, like, take a look at the way I speak. You can kind of imagine the books that I pique my interest in, the stuff I've read and what I enjoy. And it's similar with movies as well. The kind of movies I like are intelligent movies that are believable, thrillers, documentaries. And you can imagine the movies that really I have no patience for, I can't watch. Yeah, Feral Android says, imagine wanting kids, having some awesome kids, and then not being able to see them. Ah, that would be painful. You get what you've always wanted, and it's better than you always thought as well. You wanted them, and it turns out to be even better. You love them even more than you ever thought you would. And then it's like, yoink. It's like, nah, you're not having them. And she stands there. She never disappears from your life. She's a ghost going, I have got something. I'm holding it hostage. And and it's enjoyable for me to hold something to ransom, to ransom that you want. All right, guys, let's have the final questions and let's wrap it up. I hope this microphone is drowning out the sound of my neighbor revving his car engine. Can you hear it? Let me know. Rich says Bob Marley said it best. No woman, no cry. I wonder if he meant it in that way. Any last questions, guys? I'll read one or two last comments from under my videos. Vero said in a comment in terms of this video, do we miss her out of boredom or out of love? These feelings are similar. That's another question for some of you guys. Are you bored and you miss having something to do with a space that you could always have something interesting happening with your ex? You know, sex, movies, something to do, but you're bored in your life now. You don't really have much of a purpose. You're not interested in stuff. Things have lost their taste and flavor, but you remember, I used to enjoy that when it was good. And so are you bored? Again, be honest. They're interesting questions. You start knowing yourself better, then you start making better choices later. The Trial of True Men, thank you very much for the super chat donation. I appreciate it. Okay, no one can hear the car next door, which is good. That's why I'm using a dynamic microphone instead of my condenser that I used a while ago. You hear what's here, not what's over there or anywhere else. Like if I go, this microphone is Samson Q9U. In flat mode with a slight dip at 480 Hertz and the high end raised a little bit as well. So a slight dip at 480 and a slight raise in the air frequency. I like it. I never wanted to get this microphone because there was very ordinary reviews on it. But whenever I heard people talk on it and said, "Oh no, this is disappointing, not as good as the this or the Shure SM7B," yeah, Shure SM7B is better. But I really like how it sounds on my voice, and it's very adjustable too. I think they didn't try and make a microphone that sounds good. Like, it's very flexible. It's not the best microphone, but I think for a fairly affordable microphone, it's pretty good. The vocal presence on this is really good, but not for my voice. I think if you've got a different voice, the vocal presence on this is really good. It's a bit too harsh on mine. So if I do this, I think this is a bit too harsh. There's too much of the radio voice coming in. So I like to flick it back to neutral. Like this. I think this is a bit better. So again, it's you got to really pick a microphone and then tune it maybe so slightly. But you don't want to tune a microphone too much when you think, oh, I can buy any decent microphone and I can make it sound like any other. Not really. You can kind of. But what's the point of buying a microphone, spending money on it, where you have to adjust it all the time? You might as well buy the cheapest microphone you can, try and adjust the hell out of it. It'll never sound great. Or it's better off you let the microphone do most of the heavy lifting, if not all of it. Don't ask me a tech question on gear, like cameras or microphones, or pencils, or art, or video. I might make a tech or gear channel for me to geek out on gear. All right, guys, any more questions? The Hey Prendition says, do you miss your ex? Yeah, totally. I miss my ex like I miss having gum at the bottom of my shoe. That's a cool analogy. Feral Android, tell us about your keyboards. Nah, don't get me started. I was talking about my keyboards with a friend of mine yesterday. He's into 3D printing, and he's building a mill as well. He's got plastic molding presses. Like, he's really into that. He's got a workshop, and now he's building a mill. And so we'll talk. He wants to get into building keyboards and sort of milling out the bodies out of steel. And I was telling him about how I built one out of wood, and yeah. It's a great little hobby. I wonder how many, like, I can't imagine so many women, like, spurging about abstract concept, like things outside themselves, like doing and being so much in love with tinkering with this stuff. Anyway. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. Yeah, Randy S said in my video about not being able to get it up, and it might not be your fault, it might be hers. He says, as a physician colleague asked a patient once, premature for who? Yeah, when they say men are premature ejaculators, premature for who? Listen to the wording as well. A man's instinct is to be shamed. It's like, oh, I'm not performing, I'm not a man. But take a look at the condescending tone, or what the comment really is. That'll tell you a lot as well. All right, guys. It was a good chat. We've been going for nearly 2 hours now. It's more than enough. I usually try and stop at an hour and a half. Time flew, but you know what they say? When you're having fun, that's what happens. Well, that's not exactly the saying, but yeah, time flies when you're having fun. Anyway, guys. Have a good one. Enjoy your week, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.